Hey friends, welcome to Living the KG Life, a pixie dust filled podcast. On today's episode, we have Jocelyn who's going to be talking all about running Disney. So stick around, it's going to be great. All right, Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining today. We are going to be talking all about Run Disney, which I can't wait to hear all your thoughts on all things Run Disney. But before we jump in, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I am Jocelyn. I am a native of Florida who right now we're in the middle Georgia area, hoping to relocate to Florida really soon.
Exciting.
Um, I do physical therapy. I'm a PTA by day, a crazy Run Disney fan by night. I have a now 6-year-old who a lot of you have seen me run with over the past couple of years now. He's more of a bike rider. So I have my own, I guess, balloon guy when I'm
Yeah.
riding my bikes training.
Your
But
own
it's me and
pacer.
my husband. I have my own pacer. So that's about it. We love going to Disney. He loves Run Disney as much as I do. My husband is a proud cheerleader.
I love it. Now, what is your background history with Disney? Do you have like your earliest memory or what made you fall in love with Disney as a whole?
Earliest memory. So, of course, like many people from Florida, grew up going as a kid. I'm originally from Panama City, so about 4.5, 5 hours from. We would take multiple trips during the year. I always tell everybody, my mom says she took us to Disney when we were 6 months old. So I have been going to Disney since an infant. And of course, what is there not to love? So I
Yeah.
grew up loving Disney.
So literally since you were a
Literally,
little
since a
Jocelyn.
little kid. Yeah.
I love it. Now, when did you start running Disney?
A little bit about my running background. I have always been a person who exercised, did a little bit running, but I took up serious running back in 2013. As I call it, serious. We were at Disney during a wine and dine marathon weekend in 2013. And I said, I'm going to register and do one of those. At the time, my niece for a Princess Kids run in 2014. So officially,
Oh.
it wasn't my first run Disney, it was hers, but I ran the kids 1 mile with her. So I got my
Oh.
introduction running the kids mile with my niece. I couldn't run the princess a half in 10K. So I jumped in the 1 mile with her.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know when they did the kids races because they're not doing them anymore, right?
Right.
I didn't realize that
Right.
you could, like adults could do it with the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So I
so
did my,
fun.
again, my son's a junior run Disney kid. So I've did most of the races that he's done with him.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
fun. Have we heard anything about like why they stopped doing the kids races or are they coming back?
It's radio silence. They talked about doing kids activities during wine and dine and marathon weekend, but
Hmm.
there was nothing.
Which is
And
such
the
a
excitement
bummer.
of, yes, because, well, like I said, I was introduced with my niece, but then like I've had friends whose kids have been running, their kids are adults now, and
Hmm.
they did run Disney with them back in the early 2000s. So it's something that a lot of us parents are bummed about because I like the kids races more than my own. To see the little kids running in their costumes,
Oh,
they
they're
are
so
so cute.
excited.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, we keep crossing our fingers that they do come back. Many speculations are because of, social distancing and stuff like that.
Right.
But I know myself, along with a lot of other parents, will be excited to see them return back.
And now there is an age limit for, is it the 10K and up?
If,
Like
and I don't want
18?
to get this wrong. I want to say it's 5 for the 5K and then like maybe 8 to 10 for the 10K. So
Okay.
technically, my little one's 6 now. I could do the 5K with him. I saw some of those kids. I just can't get him up that early to
Yeah.
try again. Not unless he asks. Yeah, that you have to be at least I think 5 or 6 to run the 5K. So
Gotcha. So we
yeah,
have some kind of options, but not a ton. So we'll all keep
yeah,
our fingers crossed for all the little
yes,
ones, hopefully in the
yes, because we want
future.
to see them. We want to see. It's so cute seeing them out there
Yeah.
running.
Now,
Yeah.
what was it about Run Disney, whether it be the race itself or the weekend as a whole? What was that piece that made you fall in love with Run Disney specifically?
Again, like I said, we were there during the marathon weekend.
Hmm.
For one, the medals were amazing. I
Yes.
mean, yes, there are nice medals with other races because I run those too. And then just to be inside the parks and everybody congratulating you.
Hmm.
Disney is one of the few places you can get away with wearing the bling without people kind of looking at you like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So that was the thing to find out and have fun
Yep.
and take pictures with characters. Oh, I'm sold, you know? the Disney fan in me was immediately sold.
And especially, like you said, you've done other races too, where those
Mhm.
courses are wildly different. There is usually
Yeah.
little to no
Yeah.
entertainment
Or
on the course or anything. You're usually like on a street
exactly.
somewhere. So
Yeah.
the courses, I agree, totally different because I'm right up here just outside of Boston, which I want to talk about Boston in a little while too, because I
Mhm.
know you did the virtual marathon, but it's totally different. It's like a whole different
Yeah.
experience of a race course. I love
Like
it.
I'm in middle Georgia, so I did half marathons and I'm passing cows.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Occasional tractor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different experience, definitely.
Oh my god, I love it. Now, so you do all of the race weekends? Do you do some of the race
Yeah.
weekends? How does your Run Disney race schedule work out?
Well, since 2015, well, 14, I have did a race every weekend except for 2015 wine and dine after I had my son.
Yep.
So I try to do at least one race weekend or one race a weekend. Generally for me, I do the challenge, which is your half and 10K. It's a little harder for me to get off of work on Fridays,
Yeah.
the Thursday, Fridays to drive down. But I try to always sign up, even the virtuals. I will sign up for one race to do the virtuals, one during the summer series.
Yep.
I like Run Disney that much.
Yeah.
So I try to do at least one weekend and participate. So
That's awesome. Still feel like you have a little bit of like participation without too much FOMO from not
mhm.
not
Yeah.
being there.
Yeah, I was so excited that they still gave us the option, especially during COVID. A lot of people
Yeah.
was like, it's not the same, but it was motivation for
Yep.
me to get out and run because it was like, what am I running for?
Yep.
So to still have those virtual options, get Disney medals, I wanted them and I took advantage of them.
Same. So when you go, whether it's for one race or for the whole weekend, do you have any traditions?
Expo picture made it a tradition. So I've been running the Walt Disney World Marathon for the last 5 years, not counting, last year. But I try to finish with a drink in hand. So that has become a new tradition for me.
I am obsessed with that. I saw your pictures. How do you make that happen? Because that's going to have to be something that maybe not princess, but maybe in a future race,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try this.
Well, it only happens during I've started a new one too. So let me go back. So wine and dine was the first half that I stopped to get coffee. So I'm going to start doing that because the coffee stand was open.
Yeah.
I'm a middle of the pack runner, so I run between 11 minutes, sometimes 13-minute miles. Marathon weekend, I think my time was like the 16-minute mile. I had plenty of time. Stop and got coffee.
I love
Same
it.
thing with the marathon. I'm a middle end of the pack runner because we
Yep.
stop, take photos. I make sure I enjoy that before I cross the finish line. And this time, a lady actually gave me my drink. I was waiting in line. She said, "Hey, here's a drink. Go enjoy." She was in front of line ordering. She said, "Go enjoy your race." And I was like, "Thank you." So
Oh,
I
that's
didn't even have to pay for
awesome.
my drink this year. So thank you to the random stranger who gave me the drink that she ordered too.
Oh, that's so fun. So now is it only in like when you're in Epcot during like the marathon, or is it just only once the parks are open if you happen to be on like kind of that later half of the
I think
finish?
when the parks are just open, like a lot of people, and I'm not that much of a drinker, they stopped in Animal Kingdom because the stands were open in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, because it's open
Again,
so early.
they opened so early, right?
Mhm.
For wine and dine, I was on the boardwalk. And so I stopped at the coffee shop. I was cold. I was walking that, I had to walk wine and dine. And I was like, you know what? I need my coffee. I just took a beeline into the
Yeah.
coffee shop on got my coffee and continued to the finish line. So I guess as long as they're available, and then even the 10K, people were stopping for beer in Epcot because the beer stand was open. I was like, I don't know how you drink beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. No judgment.
Yeah.
But I told them, celebrate any way you like.
Now, what does your training look like?
So I am an interval trainer.
Mhm.
So I generally train with 60-30 intervals, which is 60-second run, 30-second walk. For Dopey, I did use the one from the Run Disney website.
Mhm.
Luckily for us Southern people, we train in the heat. So you try to do the best you can. I will tell anybody the hardest thing about training for Dopey is that you run into the holiday months.
Yeah.
So it gets very hard on making those long runs. Do what you can. I this year only got up to 70 miles, but I trust my training.
Yep.
I went out there, just you had over 10,000 people supporting you.
Yeah.
but just trying to stick with the training plan as much as you can. That's the big thing. Everybody says, "Oh, I've got off my training." Yeah, it happens. It's happened to me a lots of times, but I just try to get back on and stay as focused as I can on the training plan.
Yeah, that's huge. And I feel like that's been a line that I've heard from so many people. Like, you
Mhm,
have to trust your training, which can
mhm.
be really hard if it's your first race or
Yeah.
your first challenge. Have you found anything that works really well for you to, whether it be stick to your training or just have that mindset of like, I can trust myself and my training and how I'm going to get to the finish?
Just more like you said, trusting your mindset. Also, one of the great things about Run Disney, I did again several races outside of find that support on the course. I know
Yes.
during the marathon at different times I'd have different people, hey, I'm gonna run with you for a little while. I can keep up with your pace. I'm like, come on. So if you're gonna do it, make it fun. And again, there's so much support in the Run Disney community. Somebody will help you along the way. And just trusting that,
Yeah.
hey, I can get out here and do this.
And is there anything that you have found that works the most or works the best for you in your training?
Consistency. I
Yeah.
don't always say all of the long runs, but just getting your body used to being out there. I did that this time basically because I couldn't train as much. So, randomly on a Saturday, I got out and walked for 2 hours,
Yeah.
because you're out there for the marathon for 6 hours,
Yeah.
7 hours for some of us. So
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is something that I'm going to try this year.
Hmm.
And it worked really well because I couldn't get in that long mileage like I want, be it, the holidays, be it weather.
Right.
So just trying to getting out and doing something.
And that's almost makes it feel more manageable, I think, too. Like,
Mhm.
I've never done a marathon and I always said, never gonna do it. But I will say, after watching so many people like
Mhm.
yourself sharing through marathon this past weekend, I'm
Yeah.
considering it.
And two,
It's now
finding
like
a
a little,
buddy, you know,
yeah.
a lot of people this was their first marathon together. Actually, a friend who actually ran with me, it was her first marathon. I didn't even know it. I was like, "What is your first marathon?" She told me when we got like mile 24. I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
I went, we had the experience together. We talked, we stopped for the bathroom,
yeah.
but just it made it an easier experience for her just to have somebody with her. It wasn't
Yep.
planned. It was like last minute. We were in the back of the crowd. And she's like, "Can I stick with you today?" And I'm like, "Sure." And
I
that's what we
love
did. We
that.
made it through the marathon.
And that's such a different mindset too, like you said, to like the Run Disney community versus imagine if you said that to some random person in a corral at a regular race, they'd be like,
Yeah.
debatable, not sure.
Yeah.
So, whereas Run Disney, like you said, everyone's supporting you, everyone's cheering you on,
Yeah.
and you might make some new friends on the course.
Yeah. Lots of, I tell people, thousands of friends. I have
Yep,
thousands of friends.
absolutely. And a lot of
Yeah.
people, like you said, you'll see each race weekend too. You start
Mhm.
to follow them on Instagram and you know which ones they go to, they go to all of them. And that
Yeah,
makes it like a really fun interaction too.
it does. It was a big family reunion this weekend,
Oh,
literally.
I love
So,
it. Princess will be my first in-person race back, and the excitement that I have is literally like not normal.
yeah. Same magic. The
Yeah.
same magic is still there.
Ugh. Now, how about dressing up? What is your approach to, do you wear costumes? Do you kind of do like a Disney bound? Do you just go with the
Yeah.
theme of the races? How do you attack that part of the race weekend?
So, that's always, of course, everybody's hardest thing to do to decide
Mhm.
what am I going to wear. For me, I have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm not as elaborate, but I do try to bound a little bit more so character bound. I
Mhm.
have friends who go all life, but I do
Yeah.
try to bound as a character. Be it, just a skirt and a shirt
Mhm.
or even a shirt with something funny Disney related.
Yep.
So I try to keep it comfortable.
Yeah. And now how do you decide what you're gonna wear? Do you try to plan with the theme? Do you kinda go with, like, a character you haven't done yet?
I have a few places I like to shop, so I'll
Mhm.
kind of look and see what they have going on. Like for the 5K, I had saw a Marie shirt from Aristocats like months ago, and
Yeah.
I was like, I bought it. I said, if the Run Disney races happen, I'm wearing it to the 5K.
Love
So
it.
that kind of transpired into my 5K outfit.
Mm.
Like again, picked up a skirt, and I was like, oh, this will make a great Dopey inspired. Of course, because I wanted to do Dopey for the last race. I think
Yeah.
everybody wants to do Dopey for their final race.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes to me, or sometimes group costumes. I think in 2016, we did 101 Dalmatians. We
Oh,
were on
that's so
Facebook and we
fun.
helped somebody celebrate their 101 race she was Cruella. And I just was like, hey, I'll be a Dalmatian. So I already get weird enough looks from my neighbors just for my socks sometimes alone when I'm running. But no, I've never ran. Well, when I did the virtuals, I did. So my husband
Yeah.
was like, the neighborhood thinks you're crazy, but I think they're kind of used to
You're
it
like, it's
now,
great.
and they
Everyone
just
have
wave
fun.
and
Yep.
and keep going.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have different either race training plans or like approaches to if you're doing just a single race versus if you're doing a challenge like the
Mhm.
goofy or the dopey challenges?
Yeah. Since I've been doing half marathons for a while, I don't necessarily train for the half marathon distance. Definitely not
Hmm.
the 10Ks, which my favorite distance is the 10K.
Yeah.
I love 6 miles. They're long enough not to get bored. I do get bored in the half marathons. That's why I don't like them,
Yeah.
but I don't train for them anymore. Just on my daily routines, I do a few miles during the week. I'll get up on a Saturday, see how I feel. Now, I did Goofy 2019. I did do the training plan for that as well as doing dopey training plans for this one. And I can tell you all now, I said one and done, but no, I am doing dopey 2023. If I can
Uh,
get registered,
you heard it here
I mean,
first. It's coming
I
back.
know. And I told all my friends, I'm not doing this anymore. And so one texted me on Monday. She's like, how you feeling? Supposed to be the anniversary year. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
So,
and it's the anniversary of
yeah.
Dopey and the marathon, right? I heard it's like the
Yes.
10 for Dopey and 30 for the
And
marathon. Is that
30th.
right?
Yeah.
So you know
hmm
those medals are going to be awesome.
See, I was like, well, I ran my first full marathon in 14. And so 15 was my brother's first full. And I've been doing the Walt Disney World Marathon as my one and only marathon a year.
Yep.
That's a lot of distance with a lot of training
Yep.
and a lot of recovery. So I just do
Hmm.
one. So I was going to do the marathon anyway, essentially too, because it was the marathon at the anniversary. But I've been talked into Dopey. The Run Disney website, it's, set out all my mileage and stuff. I normally print it out, put it on the wall, and just go from there.
Amazing. You've mentioned Dopey, and now we know we're going to do it 2023, but how was it this year? Tell us everything about it. How was it?
So this was my first Walt Disney World 5K. So I had
Really?
never ran a 5K because again, most of the time the 5Ks are on Friday. That would require me being off
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday. So it was interesting doing a 5K.
Yeah.
It was also my first time getting up that many days in a row. And I
Oh
was
my
cranky
gosh.
on the 10K day. I was like, I woke up, I was like, I'm looking at I was like, I'm gonna do this 2 more days. So I apologize to a few people. I was like, sorry, I'm not my bubbly self, but it's early
Yeah.
but by the time the marathon came around, it was like, man, I really did this.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to run 49 miles. All of the other races, like the 5 and the 10, were kind of warm ups. The tears, I have never seen that because normally I get my medal, I'm so tired, I go home.
Yeah.
But it was great. I got to capture a few friends crossing, got big sweaty hugs.
Oh.
It was a great feeling.
And to be able to
It
see
was a
your
great
brother
feeling.
do it must have been
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, he
Okay.
did goofy, but just like a lot of people with COVID, training stuff got in the way. He
Hmm.
didn't feel he could do as good as he did. But I told him the goal was to finish. I mean, I think he called me at miles something. He was like, I'm not gonna make it. And I was like, yes, you are. It's like you're gonna walk and you're gonna keep going. So just to be able to push him through the finish line, and he looked at me and gave me all his stuff, and he said, I'm done. I'm not running anymore. He
I'll
called me on
never go
Monday. He
again.
said, so are we doing dopey? I said, if we train. I said, I'm gonna push you on your training. We're gonna train, and yes, we will do dopey.
I love it.
So
So, what would you
yeah.
say was the best part of the whole Dopey experience?
For me, waiting 20 minutes in line to see Dopey. So he was inside Magic
Wow.
Kingdom. Unlike Days of Past, they didn't have the characters pre-race. So I had told my friends that, hey, we're not going to do a whole lot of character stops because we started in the last corral. So I said, we're walk jogging. I didn't want to pace too fast for her. So I said, hey, we'll make bathroom stops. We'll do stops to characters if they're not too long. But when we saw Dopey, I was like, nope, this is our one stop. So
Yeah.
to actually get my Dopey picture as a first time Dopey challenger
Ugh.
finisher, I had to get that. That was the best experience.
Now, how do you make sure that you feel good when you see a character that is maybe like really rare that you haven't seen before or something like Dopey? Do you just try to
Yeah.
say, make sure I have a good
Yeah.
cushion, or what's your approach to that? Because I
Mhm.
think that's another thing that I know I
Right.
personally get really nervous about.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never stopped for a single one because
hmm
I'm like, I don't want to see those balloons anywhere near me. But I feel like for
So,
Princess, I might want to try it. So I'm like, I
oh,
need
yeah.
to see like what my plan's gonna be.
So, of course, that takes good ground
Yeah.
support from at home. So I had several people tracking me and the very last runner. So I
Oh,
found,
okay.
so at the expo, I wasn't tracking the balloon ladies, but I was tracking the very last pacer. So the very last 6 hour or 7 hour pacer to start in corral number six. I got his information at the expo, put it in, gave it to my
Oh,
friend. So she
that's
was
so
texting me.
smart.
I mean, hey, you're 3 miles in front of the balloons. You're five. I mean, at the end of the marathon, I was in Epcot. She said, you're 5 miles ahead of them. I was like, oh, wow. So I have a
Yeah.
lot of cushion with them maintaining a 16-minute mile. Also, like you said, I don't stop anymore unless there's a character that I haven't seen.
Yep.
I wanted to stop a little more in the marathon because they had some stuff. But again, too, for me, I didn't have enough cushioning. I like to keep a 30, 45-minute
Hmm.
cushion between me and the balloon ladies,
Yep.
especially if I'm going to stop corral. So I was like, oh, so that doesn't leave me as much time as it
Right.
has before. So I go by that. So I tell everybody, do what you're comfortable, but don't risk your race to stop for characters. I did a lot of
Yeah.
video drive-bys,
Hmm.
but it was interesting about mile 20, 21, there were no lines. I don't know if people were getting tired of taking pictures
Yeah.
or wanting to
It's
finish.
like, just
So
get me
I
done.
yeah, it happens like that a lot on the marathon course. And for the marathon, taking a lot of those pictures are at the end. And I shouldn't say Epcot is a safe zone, but generally too, once you're in Epcot, people tend to stop for the food left there too because you're inside the park.
Yeah.
And don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% sure, but most people consider it a buffer, a safe zone that once you're inside Epcot, that you can kind of, if they're characters, you can stop.
Yeah, that's great. And I didn't
So,
realize that you could get the information for like the balloon ladies or the
mhm,
pacers. So that's a brilliant idea.
yeah.
And then
So
have
I
the
don't know if like I said, I don't know if it's sure the balloon, but I did get the last pacer.
anything that was maybe a little bit more challenging than you thought it was going to be.
uh, Anticipated hotter weather, and
Mm,
we didn't have that, which I'm very glad about because if anybody can recall, 2020 was a hot marathon. It
yeah.
was extremely hot. I made it through just before they cut the course. So I know I was preaching to all of my friends. I was like, especially the ones from up north, I was like, y'all be prepared for the heat. I mean,
Yeah.
over prepare because that would have been very hard had it not been because the forecast had been projecting really hot and they had already been, given the disclaimers and the warnings for the half marathon. So outside of, I was anticipating it being a very hot race and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It turned out really good.
That's great. Now, do you have any tips for like even for myself, right? It is actually it's been in the single digits this
Mhm.
week. So it has been the complete opposite of what we're going to experience in a couple weeks down in
Yeah.
Princess Weekend. Are there any tips or ways that you can prepare for that if you don't live in a hot climate?
A lot of people have a treadmill. I
Yep.
say if you can, try to make your room, your body as hot as possible.
Yeah.
Like mine's in my garage. So if I close my garage door, it's definitely warmer than it would
Right.
be outside. It's kind of hard because you never can tell, well, not with Princess, but like sometimes with Marathon, you never can tell what the weather's going to be. Luckily, I'm in the part of South Georgia that I get both temperatures. Just mentally hydrating before the race, I even do that myself. I start hydrating a week before. Definitely think about the clothing that you wear. Don't anticipate running as fast as you normally run because it is hotter. It is
Yeah.
warmer than you're used to. So just those general tips that they tell you all the time when running in the heat.
Yep. That's a great one too. If it's your first race,
Mhm,
trying to run or almost like train a little bit faster. So then if you do
mhm,
run a little bit slower, you'll still hit a minimum of 16 minutes and
mhm.
be able to stop if you want to and things like that. That's
Yeah.
great tips. What about if someone came to you and they said, Jocelyn, I know you're a big Run Disney person. I'm thinking about it. What are the top things that you're like, okay, here's what you need to do or think about before you register?
First off is thinking about what race you're going to run. Go to the Run Disney website and see when registrations open.
Yeah.
They don't
Hmm.
realize that this happens like a lot of other races are open until they just do price increases, not Disney. It sells out. So once you decide, hey, I want to run this race, find out what day that registration opens and be prepared to register. Also, too, the day of registration, be there, be ready.
Yeah.
Have you again? It takes a team. I have a team at work. My team knows,
I love
hey,
it.
it's registration day. Give me your computer. So
Yeah.
everybody's like, wait, what? Yes, I work in long-term care, so I do physical therapy, like I said. So when it's that time, I'm like, give me your computers because they don't need them.
You have like a war
Also,
room.
right. Also, too, if you're a beginner runner, again, Run Disney has training plans for every distance. Um,
Yep.
Designed by Jeff Galloway. I tell non-Disney runners, go there and check it out because it's already set up. I mean,
Mhm.
it's for any race, 5, 10, and whatever your level may be. I always use a beginner's training plan.
Yep.
I don't use the advanced. I just print that out. I like to almost start from ground one. It gives me a little more training time.
Mhm.
It's a little longer than some of the advanced runner plans. And I like that because it keeps me more on a consistent schedule.
Yeah.
So it gets me to train on a little earlier.
That's a
So
great tip.
yeah, what else? And then just be prepared to have fun. A
Yes.
lot of people want to come to Disney. I said, Disney's not the place to PR. You pay too much money.
Yeah.
Come and enjoy the race. You
Yep.
can PR on a course locally at home, but come and enjoy the magic of the race.
Yeah.
We have plenty of races to PR.
And especially if that's your
So,
goal. Like, I know if I do ever go down that route of going to the
mm,
marathon, it'll be like, as long as I get across the finish line, I don't care how long it takes me. As
right.
long as I get past it and I get that medal,
Yes.
that is, to me, the goal and the only result that really matters.
Yes,
And staying
exactly.
healthy. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
With something like the challenge, 4 days of races that you can make
Hmm.
it to the fourth day as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Now, like I said before, I'm right outside of Boston, and I was so excited to see following you on Instagram that you did the virtual Boston Marathon. So tell me all about that.
So a group of us decided to run the Boston Marathon at Disney, the virtual, so that way then we could again celebrate in the parks. Me and my friend Lynn were staying at Pop Century, and we had the bright idea to walk 26 miles around the lake between Pop Century and Art of Animation. So needless to say, it got boring about mile 11,
Because
but
that's what, like 3 miles, right?
yeah, there's a lot of loops. I'm thankful that we were able to do the Boston Marathon in that respect because for many people, we'll never qualify for Boston.
Yeah.
So to have the opportunity to even do it virtually, I didn't want to miss it. I
Yeah.
did not want to miss it, and it was a great experience.
Now, do you think you'll ever try to, even if you don't qualify, try to do like a charity run and come up here and do it?
I've thought about it. I won't say yes or no because I've had several friends do it that way.
Yeah.
I can't say I won't. I've had a lot of people said they would support if I did
Yeah.
decide to go the charity route.
Right here.
So I'm not going to rule it out yet.
Oh my gosh, that would be so great. I will say the Boston Marathon route is another one, obviously, very different course vibes, but the support and the people from this area and really all over New England, and then, all the people internationally that come as well just to support. It is one of the funnest times, even just leading up to that weekend or into that Monday is like nothing else. It is one of the, like I said, the best times to be in
Yeah,
Boston. So I think it'd be great if you do
I'll,
it.
I'll think about
I'll,
it.
I will be there. I will find you. I will track you. I will cheer you on at a bunch of the different good spots. So you'll have to keep us up to date and let us know if that
I will.
if that
I
decision comes
will.
up. So let's talk about your Instagram account, Mom
Mhm.
Runs Disney. How did you decide to start this account? Because it has become, I think, one of the accounts that a ton of people that do run Disney follow, and a lot of people share your posts and your stories and things like that. So, how did you decide to start the account?
I got pregnant with my son.
Hmm.
And for several of my friends, they couldn't believe I was on this run journey while I was pregnant,
Yeah.
So one of them had the bright idea, why don't you start an Instagram account, document, and especially as a
Yeah.
Black woman, it is taboo. Like my grandmother almost killed me because I was running. She was like, I was like, Grandma, trust me, I am fine. But
Yeah.
old school. You don't exercise, you don't do this. So I started my account when I actually, after I ran, I think I had ran the Princess Marathon with another friend. I was pregnant with my son at the time. So that was one of my first few posts. And then I just wanted to document my run journey with my little one,
Yeah.
because I tell people, no brags, I got up and ran a 5K and then we went to the hospital and I had him. So
Oh my gosh.
just documenting, as a mom, sometimes it's like, no, you can't do this. Well, yes, I can, but I'm going to bring the little one along. And two, just to document our love of Disney. So,
Yeah.
hence, a mom who runs and loves Disney. That's how we get here today.
It
So,
fits
I had,
perfect.
yeah, I never would have thought that I would get to where it is and motivation that I provide to people. I try to keep it
Yeah.
lighthearted and positive because that's me. So yeah, my son, he doesn't make as many appearances as he
Yeah.
used to because he's sick. So now it's,
He's at the age.
but yeah, so I let him make showcases sometimes, sometimes
I love it. Now, what's your favorite part of having the account?
meeting people, like, and meeting people that inspire you to do stuff as well.
Yeah.
So even on my days, somebody inboxed me yesterday about getting up and running. Well, I had no plans really to run yesterday. So guess what? I got up and ran
Yeah.
too. So just meeting people, because I'm a people person.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
That's awesome. And that's actually a big reason why I started the podcast because I was like, I follow so many amazing people like
Mhm.
yourself. And I was like, I want everyone to come on and tell their stories and, why do they create their shop? Why do they run
Yeah.
Disney? Why do they even just go to Disney and how do they do
Yeah.
it? Everybody has such cool, fun stories. And I
Yeah.
can say I have loved following your account. You have also been a
Thank
big
you.
motivation, inspiration for me when it comes to running, training. And I really love
Yeah.
people like yourself that keep it real too, of
Yeah.
like, hey, I either have had an injury. It feels more like that community that I think
Right.
everybody really appreciates about Run Disney.
Right.
Something else that I think you do really well is you share a lot about the different brands that you work with. And
Mhm.
you have partnered with some like pretty awesome brands. So how does that work? Is it something where, you find a product that you really like and you want to endorse them? What is that process like for you?
So right now, I am a brand rep slash ambassador for a lot of different companies now. Just found out about Honey Stingers. I
Congratulations, that's
do you
exciting.
things. For me, a lot of them have, if you're following their social media accounts, they put out applications to apply. I applied last year and became Shocks. They changed their name from Aftershocks to Shocks.
Yep.
So everybody that I am a brand rep or ambassador for, I use daily. So
Hmm.
as you can see now, got my Aftershocks on. I use, my Honey Stingers daily. So a lot of it comes by just applying for the programs when I see them on Instagram. Again, they have taken life itself, and I have met so many amazing people through them, and
Yeah.
they're companies that I support. That align with a lot of the things that I like. So that is funny because I had a lot of people ask. I did a sponsorship with Enterprise Rental Car this weekend.
So
Don't ask
cool.
me how. They just emailed me. So I thought it was spam, but it was a great experience. I just had to, is this real? That was
Yeah.
my reply email. It was interesting working with them too. So people ask that. Definitely, I would give this advice. Definitely look at the brand. I support
Mhm.
a lot of small shops too. Like I have a small shop that I love her ears. I bought her the first pair. So I just love her shop and I've supported her since then. If you're interested and it's something you like, reach out to them. I have a
Mhm.
lot of friends that have did that and say, hey, I like your stuff. I really would love to, represent it. But as far as some of the big ones, their yearly applications, and I've
Mhm.
just applied and they have accepted them.
I love it. And that's one of the things that I always find to be so nice about people like yourself, like I said, that are authentic and real and
Mhm.
give, their true perspective on things. Because then
Mhm.
when you see something, you're like, oh, I know that like Jocelyn wears these Shocks headphones. Let me go try them out. So it's almost,
Mhm.
it's great for these brands because you're being real.
Right.
I think they are so smart to be partnering with people like yourself that, like you said, are also going to use them every day. So like when you share a picture, you're either in your pro compression
Mhm.
socks or wearing your shocks,
Yeah.
and people can see like, okay, this isn't just an Instagram post. This is
Yeah.
actually a true endorsement of the success and
Yeah.
the quality of the product too.
And I think a lot of the brands are getting smart to that. Yes,
Hmm.
I understand you have your big athletes, but I want to see somebody like me who is using something every day.
Yep.
Like, so I can say, really, how do you like that? Because I've had some
Yeah.
different things I've seen somebody, use and they're like for energy or whatever. And I'm like, nah, I don't like it that much. And they're giving their honest opinion. You
Yep.
know, I feel the same way. I'll tell you, this flavor of something doesn't taste good. Don't buy that one.
Yeah.
So being honest and
Yeah.
seeing somebody that actually use it. So
Yeah.
my shop, I do use those daily. And those are some that he recommended. Also, pro compression. I do
Hmm.
healthcare. I am on my feet sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours a day. They are a daily part of under jeans. I mean, 6 out of 7 days of the week, I wear them. So those are two I really love.
And that must be huge too. So you have like the actual background contextual knowledge too of like what those compression socks are
Yeah.
doing. Now, do
Mhm.
you run in them and with them for recovery or do you do one or
I
the
do
other?
both. I do both. I mean, they're like, that's primarily my sock.
Yeah,
You know, I try to coordinate what pair I'm going to put on that day and coordinate my run outfit. So I just keep them on all day and then I pull them off. Yes. I
that's amazing.
wear them a lot.
That's something that I have not tried yet, but I
Mhm.
feel like with the longer distances, that's something that
Mhm.
I want to try out
Mhm.
for, especially for recovery. So,
Yeah. I don't have to necessarily do them for the 5 and 10Ks, but I started again wearing more for work. We got together, bought some of our nurses some for Nurses Week, and they were like, "Oh my God, those are the best socks." Plus, they come in fun colors. It's all
yeah,
about that too. That helps. That
keeping it
helps a lot.
keeping it light and fun.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, we're getting ready to wrap up the episode.
Just have fun. That's what I tell everybody. Have fun.
Love it. All right, ready to hop into our speed round of favorites?
I
All right, so
am.
this is going to be Run Disney edition.
All right.
Which is your favorite Run Disney race weekend?
Star Wars weekend, even though it's no longer available, the costumes were amazing.
Ugh, RIP. I really hope that with this springtime surprise, since they said they're going to change up the theme, I feel like they'll have to bring some kind of Star Wars
Have
back
to.
something, right?
Yes.
So many people seem so bummed. I did one, actually the last one virtual because I was like, I got to get at least one of the medals
Yeah.
before they're gone. So fingers crossed that they
Yeah.
somewhat come back. Speaking of medals, do you have a favorite Run Disney medal that you have?
The Walt Disney World 25th anniversary marathon medal. I don't know.
Oh,
It's just my favorite. It's pretty.
how about
Mhm.
a resort to stay at during a race weekend?
I like Coronado.
Oh,
Just like it's good for recovery walks. You've got a lot of space. I like Coronado Springs.
love it. Is there any merch item that you get for each race weekend? And I saw the expo this year seems like merch was bananas, but
Yeah.
typically, is there something that you try to get every race weekend?
Yes. A coffee cup and a race magnet with my respective race. So I did the coffee cup and the dopey magnet this year.
Love it. Do you have a favorite way or a way that you typically celebrate after a race?
Eating.
Yeah,
I'll eat and it's a celebratory drink.
I love it. Is there a particular celebratory drink you get, or is it always kind of like how you're feeling that day?
How I'm feeling that day, just so we can celebrate.
Amazing.
I just love Spaceship Earth pictures. I love
Yes.
Epcot. So again, I just love the picture of Spaceship Earth in the background.
I love it. Now, have you seen, speaking of, the new show that they have for Festival of the Arts?
Now, hopefully 2 weeks from now. Rio in 2 weeks.
I saw it on people's Instagram stories with, the Rainbow Connection and the Muppets, and I'm so
Yes.
bummed that Festival of the Arts this year ends right before Princess, so I'm gonna miss it by like 2 days.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I made a special trip. I was like, I put it on the calendar.
amazing. Follow Jocelyn and check out all of her amazing Run Disney content. And will you be there for Princess Weekend?
Yes, I will. I'm doing the 10K. I'm thinking about signing up for the half hour as well.
I love it. Thanks so much for hanging out today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our episode with Jocelyn talking all about Run Disney. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Living the KG Life. We drop new episodes every Monday, so stick around. It's going to be great.